wait a minute, where are we going? Is there parking there? Do I have to parallel park? Is there going to be a garage? Like, what time of day is it going to be? Am I going to have to walk somewhere? Is it going to be hot? I mean, all of these things that are like overwhelming. And at the same time, especially if I'm in front of somebody, I have to like control the look on my face so I don't look panicked and freaked out that, all these things are going through my head. And controlling the look on my face sometimes while I'm thinking about all of these things is just as difficult as controlling the anxiety.
Hi there, this is Sarah Kuhn. If you are an INFJ or in a relationship with an INFJ or related to an INFJ in any way, and you want to figure out how they operate, what makes them tick, and how to communicate with them better, this is the show for you. It's called The Quiet Ones. This is a show that deconstructs INFJs, what they are, how they think, how they feel, how they operate, and how they relate to people with other personality types. Whether you have just found out that you're an INFJ or have known for a number of years, there is something for everyone. You will learn more about your personality type so that you understand who you are and understand how you operate in the workplace, in relationships, in your family, and with friends. I want you to walk away from every episode feeling like you have a place of belonging, feeling like you are no longer alone, feeling like you have a place to be heard and seen and understood as you really are. This is a place to connect with other INFJs, to learn and grow and really thrive. I want to give you inspiration and real life strategies that are going to help you figure out how to live your best life every single day. Though INFJs are very rare, you are not alone in this world. You are not the only one who thinks the way that you do and feels the way that you do. Hear from real INFJs just like you. Hi there, I'm Sarah Kuhn. Welcome to another episode of The Quiet Ones. I'm so excited that you're here today. Today we are going to talk about the curse of living with INFJ anxiety. I actually wrote a blog post with that title as well, so I encourage you to check it out. You can find it at my blog, which is infjwoman.com. I wanted to start by just talking about regular anxiety, or general anxiety is what it's called. Probably about 6 years ago now, I was going to see a counselor and I was telling her about my anxiety and just that I worry about a lot of things and I worry constantly. I kind of spoke about it in a general way because I didn't know that I wanted to be too specific with her. It was weird for me to talk about it because I really hadn't spoken about it that much before. Every once in a while I would say something to one of my friends or my family members and they would say, everybody worries, so like, why are you talking about it? But then my counselor, I was telling her just some general things about, my anxiety, and she said, you know that not everybody feels this way, right? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, you have anxiety. You have like an anxiety disorder. Not everybody feels the way that you feel. Not everybody worries constantly about everything. And that was really eye-opening for me because for my whole life I had been told, oh, you don't need to worry about that, or everybody feels that way, and just these dismissive comments. And so when my counselor said, that's different, like what you feel is not normal, not everybody feels that way, it was a huge eye-opening experience for me, and it kind of gave me some almost like justification for the way that I feel. I kind of felt like, not everybody really, I don't think everybody has this level of anxiety. So it really, it didn't feel good to be diagnosed with an anxiety disorder, but it did feel good for her to tell me that, this is different. It is more than what people deal with. Just a few weeks ago, I was actually reading a book that was talking about INFJ anxiety that's specific to INFJs. So different from what regular people deal with, different from people who have an anxiety disorder deal with.
this is just anxiety that's specific to INFJs. It was such an eye-opening experience for me. And since I posted about it on my blog, there have been so many comments where people have said it was really eye-opening for them as well. So that's why I wanted to dedicate another podcast episode to it. Because I think it's really important. It's important that we understand that everybody feels this way. Every INFJ feels this way, and it is different from what other people deal with. But most of all, that it's okay for you to feel this way, that it's totally normal and everything is going to be okay. And then to learn, I don't know if there is a way to get out from under it, but certainly how to manage it a little bit better. So first of all, I want to go over what INFJ anxiety is. And I kind of just want to hit some of the points that were in my blog post and discuss a couple of other things too. One of the biggest things for me, and this is especially in a semi-post-COVID area, I've spent about almost a year and a half inside of my house. Of course, I go out and get groceries and get coffee and things like that, but I haven't really gone out a lot. I have one friend who will go out. We've gone out to coffee a couple of times, and then she has an area in her backyard that we hang out in, but I really haven't been out other than that. I haven't been to concerts. I usually go to concerts. I haven't been to any big events where there's a lot of people around, and those are the types of things that cause me a lot of anxiety. And even things just like going out to eat typically cause me a lot of anxiety. When I make plans with my friends, I enjoy going out with them, but there's a flip side of it that is like a massive amount of stress. So as soon as we start talking about going out somewhere, I start thinking, like my mind just starts running a million miles an hour. And especially since I live in Boston, there are some things that really worry me. Like I start just thinking about like, where am I going to park? You know, I'm a vegetarian. What kind of food do they serve at this place? Is there going to be something for me to eat? I don't know if I have anything to wear. I mean, especially for me, because like a lot of us through the pandemic, I've gained some weight because I was sick last year. I was on steroids and the weight doesn't come off as easily as the doctors say that it should. And so I'm like, oh, I don't want to buy any clothes that are like my size, because I don't really want to even admit that I am this size yet. I was just going to lose the weight, but I don't have time to lose the weight. Now I don't have anything to wear. So please don't pick a place that's like super nice, because then I'll have to buy something and that'll just be horrible. Please don't do that. Like, and then it's like, oh wait, are the stores open? Are there fitting rooms? Do I have any money? Oh wait, do I have money? Like, how much is this restaurant going to cost? What day are we going? Hold on, when do I get paid? Let me make sure that I get paid before we go out to eat, because the way that my checking account works, I need to get paid before I actually commit to something. And then I start thinking about like, oh wait, you know, I know you're gonna pick a place that's in like Cambridge or north of town, so that's like an hour away from me, because you know my friend lives in Cambridge. So I'm like, oh no, I'll have to put gas in my car. Well, I have to schedule when I put gas in my car, because the gas stations around where I live, they're weird. They're full service, and I'm so not used to having somebody else put gas in my car, and it freaks me out. A whole nother anxiety thing. So I have to schedule when I put gas in my car so that I can go to this one specific place that they don't do that, so I can put gas in my car. But I feel like it's really weird to go to that place just to put gas in my car, because it's far enough away that it doesn't make sense, if you know what I mean. So I have to schedule when I put gas in my car. So like, am I gonna have gas? Can I schedule something before we go there? You know, and then wait a minute, where are we going? Is there parking there? Do I have to parallel park? Is there going to be a garage? Like, what time of day is it going to be? Am I going to have to walk somewhere? Is it going to be hot? I mean, all of these things that are like overwhelming. And at the same time, especially if I'm in front of somebody, I have to like control the look on my face so I don't look panicked and freaked out that, all these things are going through my head and controlling the look on my face sometimes while I'm thinking about all of these things is just as difficult as controlling the anxiety. I especially get anxious if it's a place that I've never been before, because once you've been to a place, then a lot of these questions are answered for you. I mean, you still might not be able to find a parking place, which is something that I stress about a lot, but at least you know what the situation is. When you're going to a brand new place, like, you have no idea what the situation is. So that makes it, all of the unknowns for me make it 1,000 times worse. It's always difficult for me too when somebody says, what do you think? Or where do you want to go? Because then you bring in that element of INFJs have this function called extroverted feeling. So we want to make other people happy, right? We are happiest when the people around us are happy. But of course, people want to be polite, and some people would rather not make a decision. They want us to make a decision. So then that causes us a lot of stress too. It causes me a lot of stress specifically because there are certain restaurants that I like. One, because I know they have parking. And two, because I know that there's something on the menu that I like there. And maybe there are other reasons, but I always tell my friends, if you let me pick the restaurant, we'll go to the same place. We might go to one of 3 places, but we'll go to the same place every time. And I'm 100% okay with that, because when I go out to eat, I eat at one of 2 places pretty much every single time. So when somebody says, well, what do you want to do? I know that they're trying to be nice to me by letting me pick. But at the same time, that makes me feel an extreme amount of stress, because what would make me the happiest is if they picked the place. If they told me what they wanted, or maybe they said, I would like to go to one of these 2 or 3 places. Which one sounds good to you? That would be perfect for me. But most of the time people don't do that. They're like, well, I don't know, you pick the place, wherever you want to go is fine. And you're like, oh, but what would make me happy is that if I knew what you wanted to do, that would make me happy. But it's so hard to be able to say that and communicate that to people, especially because a lot of my friends, they're kind of like easygoing, nonchalant type of people. And I know that they're trying to make me happy. And it's not everybody will understand you trying to explain, listen, if it would make me really happy if you would pick 1 or 2 places and then let me pick from those places, or maybe I could add to that picking, but I would only pick places that you're okay with. I hope that you understand what I'm saying here, because that whole where do you want to go situation causes me extreme stress. And I always thought that it was because when I was growing up, both of my parents are very laid back and nonchalant. So every time we would go out to eat, it would turn into an argument. And there was 4 of us kids. So everybody would start with, where do you want to go out to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to go out to eat? And so that would go back and forth for a while. And then somebody would pick something and everybody else would go, oh, I don't want to eat there. That's terrible. I don't want to eat there. That's horrible. And so then it would turn into like this argument that was never very nice. And then we always just ended up going to the same place. So I thought that that's why I had this stress, because, that's how I grew up. But I realize now that it's about the functions of our personality. It's about being an INFJ. That's where a lot of it comes from. Like I said before, we're happiest when we can make other people happy, and not everybody understands that. Another situation that causes me a lot of stress, but also causes me a lot of joy. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, causes me. But I love going to concerts, but only certain concerts. If it was just like any concert, I wouldn't go. But there's this one group that I absolutely love. And for the record, it's New Kids on the Block. I absolutely love seeing them in person. Anybody else, I could like take it or leave it. But if they're going on concert, or if they're going on tour or if they're doing a concert, I want to be there. Regardless of where it is, I want to be there. But the thing about it though is that the whole experience causes me an extreme amount of anxiety. Just from buying the tickets, they just announced today that they have a concert the day that I'm recording this episode, actually, which is before it's going to be out. But they just announced today that they've rescheduled a concert that got postponed because of COVID. And I already feel anxiety, even though I already have tickets. So this is kind of an unusual thing. I have tickets, but there might be better tickets. So usually the excitement, the announcement causes a lot of excitement, but then also anxiety, because it's really hard to get the good tickets for their concerts. And I'm definitely a ticket snob. I want like really good seats, like front row or second row seats. And there's only so many of those available, right? So I know that on sale day for tickets is like extremely, it'll cause so much anxiety until I actually have the tickets. And then leading up to the concert, just thinking about going, I have an equal amount of excitement and then also anxiety. And the closer that it gets to the concert, my level of anxiety gets so high that it's like I don't want to go. Even though I know that it'll be fine and everything will be good, it always gets to that place where I don't want to go. And even now, the concert that I'm going to is going to be at Fenway Park in Boston, which is a baseball stadium. I've never been to a concert there or even a baseball game there, but I have been inside of the stadium. We did a tour for a work thing a couple of years ago. And I've been in that area of Boston, and I know that parking is a problem. I know that if I want to park my car there, it's probably going to cost me at least $50, if not $100. So then I'm trying to go through all of the other scenarios of like, oh, would it be better to just take the train? Should I take an Uber? Like, you know, what time of day is it going to be? Is that going to be able to work out? Am I going to get an Uber at that time of night after the concert is over? All of these types of things, right? And even once I make a decision, it'll still be like, was that the right decision? Am I positive this is going to work out this way? Is everything going to be okay? And then when you get up to concert day, this one will be a little bit better because I don't have meet and greet tickets, but a lot of times I go to meet and greet. And that's super stressful because I know that I have to talk to people. And not only talking to people, but like people I don't know. And when you go to a New Kids concert to meet and greet, you get to take a photo with the guys in the band, and you have to be in a group of 10. So there's 10 girls and 5 guys. So each one of you stands on each one of the on each side of the guy. So it's kind of a big thing that everybody wants to stand next to one of 2 guys and nobody wants to stand next to anybody else, and there's 5 of them, right? So when you go to meet and greet, you have to like negotiate with people that you don't know. Not only do you have to walk up to people that you don't know, but you have to negotiate with them. And of course, one of the guys that I want to stand next to is one of the guys that everybody wants to stand next to. So it's like, it's kind of a negotiation with myself before I even get to that point, because I'm like, okay, do I want to fight with people? Because I know that it'll be so much easier if I just, do whatever. Like if I just don't care who I stand next to, it'll be so much easier. But I might have a better experience if I actually get to stand next to the guy that I want to stand next to, right? That's kind of the thought process that goes through my head. But it's like, do I want what I want? Am I going to throw a fit to get what I want? Or am I just going to go along with what everybody else wants and, be basically the good person, or, the good guy, or the responsible one, which is always my position too. Like, am I going to make myself happy or going to make everybody else happy? And honestly, it's kind of a 50-50 split for me. In the past, every single time I would say, I'm going to make somebody else happy. I'm going to make everybody else happy. And nowadays, it's kind of like, I really kind of want to do what I want to do. Even I know it's going to make you mad, but I'm still going to do what I want to do. So going through that negotiation process is like torture for me. It's like the highest level of anxiety that I can get to. The last time that they went on tour was in 2019. And you can kind of somewhat negotiate your photo groups beforehand on Facebook, but you never really know how they're going to work out. Because I've been to these things where you thought that you had everything together and it just falls apart right at the last minute. And so it's like you don't really want to get your hopes up. And even if you do negotiate beforehand, you're still going to meet people from Facebook that you haven't really met in person yet. And you never know what kind of people they're going to be or what kind of experience you're going to have. I went to 2 concerts where it had meet and greet in 2019, and it was like one of them was the best of experiences and one of them was like the worst of experiences. So you really never know. But then it's also really bad because even without the meet and greet, going into an arena where there's 15,000 people, and this is like stress level pre-COVID. I'm not really that concerned about COVID, although I understand people who are. I understand you don't want to get sick and the the fear of being extremely sick. Because I have severe asthma and breathing problems, and I think that I had COVID. I understand what that illness feels like, and I know why you would want to avoid that. But I'm even talking about anxiety levels pre-COVID. So if you leave out the whole you might get sick thing, just being around 15,000 people is so stressful for me. And it's like I have to put up this shield around myself because there are so many people and so many different feelings going on, so many emotions, all in such a small space, that it's like this massive feeling of overwhelm. And I'm usually dying for the concert to start, because if you go to meet and greet, you're there at like 3:00 in the afternoon, and the concert doesn't start until like 9. Well, at least the part of the concert where the new kids are on stage. So, I mean, you're there for a long time and you're being bombarded and having to deal with the whole small talk thing and, talking to people that you don't know, or feeling weird because everybody else is talking to somebody and you're sitting there by yourself not talking. That whole experience, though, is just like, you sit there for all that time and you're like, oh, why do I do this to myself? Is this worth it? I don't think it's worth it. It's really not worth it. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be okay through all of this. But then for me, all of it stops as soon as the lights go down. I think part of that is because I can't really see all of the other people once the lights go down. And I'm not focused on any of them anymore. I'm focused on what's happening on stage. And that's all that matters. And that it's that point where the anxiety gets exchanged with excitement. And that's the part that's enjoyable for me. But then as soon as the concert is over and the lights come back on, then the anxiety kicks up again. And it's like, okay, now I have to figure out all those little details. Like, where did I leave my car? Am I going to be able to get out of here? What about the traffic? All of these people being so close to me, all of that kicks up again. And by the time that I get home, I feel so incredibly exhausted that I can't hardly move.
Want to learn more about the INFJ personality? Check out my book, The INFJ User Guide. It covers every question you have about INFJs. It talks about preferences, functions, strengths, weaknesses, communication, relationships, how to find your purpose specifically for an INFJ, and what kind of career is best for INFJs. Get your copy today at infjwoman.com/book. There's a link in the video description.
I made a mistake. In 2019, I went to 2 concerts that had meet and greet, but then I went to 2 concerts that didn't. And the 2 that didn't were here in Boston at an arena that's in downtown Boston. And I had never been to that arena before. Parking is challenging, so I actually paid $50 per night to park, and there were 2 concerts that were on consecutive nights. And in order to park there, you have to park in a parking garage that's below the arena. And I didn't realize this, but until I got there, where I parked was 5 stories below ground. And you want to talk about anxiety. I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a place that was 5 stories below ground, but I was like having massive anxiety. And of course I went by myself because, you know, I didn't have any new kids friends that were in Boston. So it was just like extreme anxiety. There are so many people there too, because that arena, like the first floor of the arena is actually the second largest train station in Boston. So you have to go up to the second floor to get to the arena. And then I was worried about getting out of the parking garage. Like it gave me great anxiety just walking through the parking garage. So I knew that I might be stuck inside of the parking garage for like an hour after the concert, because I was at the lowest level of the parking garage, like the farthest from how you get out. So I actually left before the last song was over, because I'm like, I'm getting out of here before there's a line. I cannot sit here for like an hour. But it was really, really bad going consecutive nights, because the first night I came home feeling like extremely exhausted. And then the second day I have to go do it all over again. And it was just like almost more than I could handle. I used to have to go to work every single day by riding the train. And, you know, pre-COVID, there were 500 or 600 people all jammed onto the train. Like you were sitting next to somebody and there were 3 people in the aisle standing next to you. And I mean, that is just, it's a lot being around all of those people. And it's not just the people and the fact that I'm really not, you know, a people person. It's just being around their energy. It's feeling their feelings. It's soaking up everything that is coming off of all of them. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, coming off of them, but it feels like it is. It feels like all of their energy, their feelings, whether they're excited or anxious or mad. And of course, the negative emotions hit you a lot worse than the positive ones. So you combine, it's like you combine all of the anxiety about, you know, can I find a parking spot? Like, where am I going? All of those things that are going through your head, combine all of that with all of the energy coming off of everybody else. And imagine if just one other person has that anxiety that you're feeling, you're doubling it. And then you add 10 people, now you have 10 times that amount of anxiety. It's really a wonder that we can make it through some of those experiences. But like I said, I don't go to concerts most of the time. I won't put up with all of that. There's only like one band that I'll put up with that for. Everybody else is like, I don't know. I really have to think about this. Maybe if somebody else will go with me. So I wanted to explain all of that to you because I hope that you feel the same way. Not that I hope that you feel super anxious, because I don't. I have heard that a lot of INFJs, if not all of us, have these same feelings. We all feel the same level of anxiety. So I really want you to know that you're not alone, that it's completely normal for us and there's nothing for you to worry about. There are a few things that you can do to mitigate it. Obviously, not going to concerts or, being in places where you have that level of stress is one thing that you can do. But do you really want to live your life locked inside of your house? And I know that over the past year and a half, we've gotten a firsthand experience of what living in your house feels like. And if that works for you, that's great. You have the answer right there. If it doesn't work for you, it's not a very good solution, right? It's not a solution for me, because as much stress and anxiety as those big events bring to me, I really want to go, you know? There's this song that the New Kids have that they talk about making memories. And I just feel like I've spent so much time being afraid and anxious and, worrying more than anything and avoiding those types of situations just to keep my anxiety down. I kind of feel like I've missed out on a lot of big things in my life. And nowadays, I really want, especially after COVID, I really want to focus on having more experiences, on making more memories. Because when I look back on the pictures and the videos that I have, I don't really remember the anxiety. What I remember is the good parts, the good pieces of the concert. I remember all of the nice things that happened. And of course, I've made some friends along the way too. So I appreciate that and I enjoy that. There are a few other things that I found to take some of the anxiety away, especially if you're just talking about something simple like going out to dinner or to coffee or something. I used to think that it was really weird that I would get on Google Maps and literally use like the little walking around feature. But it helps so much. It helps me just to know, what does the building look like that I'm going to? What does the parking lot look like? There are apps that you can get if you live in a big city. There are apps that you can get that will show you where you can park around where you're going to if they don't have a parking lot. That helps immensely. I also, a couple of years ago now, I had to step way outside of my comfort zone. I was living in an apartment that the parking lot wasn't really, it didn't belong to the building. The parking lot was a public beach parking lot, because I lived like right across the street from the beach. And so all throughout the year, except for from Memorial Day to Labor Day, so basically summertime, you could park in the beach parking lot for free. So for the majority of the year, you could do that, right? You only had to worry about it for those 3 months during the summer. Well, then COVID happened. And what happened was they closed the beach parking lot. So nobody could park in there because they didn't want people going to the beach, right? So then I realized, okay, you have to park on the street. Well, there were 100 other people who had to park on the street too, and there were like 10 parking spaces. And a lot of times you could get one that you could just, like pull up into, but sometimes you had to parallel park. And I would avoid those places at all costs because I didn't know how to parallel park. And here I am, 35 years old, didn't know how to parallel park. Well, 33 then, but still, I mean, I don't know how I passed the driver's test without knowing how to parallel park. Maybe I could back then, like just in order to pass the test, but I've never done it since then. So one day I got really, really brave and I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to parallel park. And I kind of knew, because a lot of people, when you tell them, I don't know how to parallel park, they'll give you a tutorial like, oh, it's super easy. You just do this and you just do that and it works. And I'm like, yeah, I've tried that a couple of times and it doesn't work. And it's super embarrassing because I feel like everybody's staring at me and I don't want to have to make people wait. And what if I hit somebody else's car? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay my deductible or pay for somebody else's, and I don't want my insurance to go up. So I had just never tried it, and then growing up in the Midwest too, and then I lived in North Carolina for a while. I really didn't have to parallel park. I rarely went downtown. But then I moved to Boston and everything changes. So anyway, I got really brave and I was like, you know what? I'm going to learn how to do this. So I found a tutorial on YouTube, because you can find a tutorial for anything on YouTube. And they were like, you know what? It's super easy. You just do this. Like, you just pull up next to the car in front of you, and then you back in and you turn the wheel all the way so that you can back in, and then you turn the wheel all the way the other way, and it works super easy. And I'm like, okay, that looks super easy, but like massive anxiety. So one day I actually tried it, and I had to be really brave, but thankfully my car has a backup camera. I don't know that I would try it if I didn't have a backup camera. But my car does, and it worked. It worked like super easy, just like they said in the tutorial. And I was like, wow, how is it that I've been avoiding that for so long? Like, that wasn't really that hard. Then of course after that I got kind of brave and, tried it a couple of times where it didn't work that well. So obviously there is still an art to it a little bit. It's not complete science. But it took away so much anxiety for me, because it's like, it's opened up some space for me, right? Literally. It's not now where I can't parallel park. It's, I can. It may not work out. It might be kind of embarrassing, but I know how to do it. And I have a little bit more confidence now. So I think one of the ways that we can help soothe our anxiety is to kind of step out of our comfort zones just a little bit and learn something new, even if it's something as simple as parallel parking. Anything that will help ease that anxiety, especially obviously if you don't go on to Google Maps and look at the places that you're going to, the new places first, you definitely should try that. It works really, really well. There are very few places that Google Maps doesn't at least have an aerial picture of. And a lot of them have, like, you can walk around as if you're walking down the street. I've noticed too, there are street views, like on YouTube, there are people who put a camera in their car and then just drive through downtown Boston or downtown New York or downtown Los Angeles. I don't know who thought about that. And pre-COVID, I probably never would have watched something like that, but I was really bored one day and I was watching it and I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. Like, I've never driven through downtown LA. And now I can drive through, or at least see what driving through downtown LA looks like without actually having to do it. So if all else fails, you can go onto YouTube and see if there's a video of it. There very well might be, especially if it's a big city. So Google Maps is a good thing. Especially if we're going to a restaurant, I always look at the menu. I'm pretty particular about that, because like I said, I'm a vegetarian and I'm really pretty picky about what I eat. So I want to make sure that there's at least something that I can eat. I'm also, because of the anxiety thing, I don't like to have to tell the server or ask them, can you make something special for me? I just rather there be something that I can order. Another thing that you could do too that would work really well, if the person that you're making plans with, if there's somebody that's close to you, you can try to explain to them, what I started with, that we as INFJs are most comfortable when we're making other people happy. And hopefully they'll understand that, so they can say, okay, You know, you pick one restaurant or you pick two restaurants and I'll pick two, and then we'll decide together which one we go to. Um, and it's perfectly fine to say, look, I'm most happy when you're happy. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Some other things that I've done to ease my anxiety a little bit. There are a couple of herbs that you can get that work really well. One of them is called ashwagandha. It looks like this if you're watching on video. Ashwagandha. I'll put a link for it too in the show notes. Something else that I've tried that I guess it has marginal results. But if you are interested and open to trying CBD oil, it's not marijuana because it doesn't have like a hallucinogen in it. And I think now it's pretty much legal just about everywhere. The place that I ordered it from, I think, was in California. But I think it does work. You have to take it like every day, kind of like melatonin. You really have to take it every day to notice that it's taking the edge off a little bit. It's not like something that is super, super, super noticeable. It doesn't make you feel like you're high or anything. It just kind of takes the edge off a little bit. Something else that I've tried that I like a lot is called reishi, however you say it. It's a mushroom. It's not like a psychedelic mushroom, but it is some kind of mushroom. You can get it at Whole Foods now. This is a powder, but you can get it in capsules as well. I've noticed that it helps to avoid certain foods. And this might be different for some people, but definitely something that you should try. For me, aspartame, anything that has aspartame, which is a sweetener, triggers my anxiety really, really bad. I used to drink Diet Dr. Pepper, like I would drink 6 or 8 or 10 of them a day, and I never had any problems. But then I quit drinking it for probably 6 or 8 months, maybe more than a year. And then I went back to drinking it, and I noticed that my anxiety was just off the charts bad. So if you drink anything that has aspartame or eat anything that has aspartame in it, you might try switching to something else and see if it changes. I don't know. I don't remember which one. Aspartame is usually found in stuff that's diet, and I don't remember if it's sweet and low or there's another one. But it'll tell you on the package what's in it. Caffeine is another thing that will trigger anxiety. So if you drink coffee or any type of soda or pop, or if you eat a significant amount of chocolate, which I'm guilty of, that can trigger your anxiety as well. Dark chocolate is actually good for you. So they say, good for anxiety. Another thing that's good, especially if you want to get off of coffee or soda pop, is a matcha tea. And I did a video about how to make a matcha tea latte that I'll put in the show notes as well, so you can check that out. There are a couple of other things that I would suggest too. I have a weighted blanket that helps a lot with anxiety. So, you know, if you do something that's like really high stress and you're waiting to do that, like the day before, I always get super, super anxious. A weighted blanket is good for that. And then of course, the day after, when you're recovering, sometimes 2 or 3 days, depending on what kind of an event you're going to. And that's another thing that you can do too, is schedule alone time around these events, because you know that you're going to be stressed out leading up to it, even if it's supposed to be fun. And even if you do end up having fun, you're still going to be stressed out. You know that. So just plan for that and prepare for that. And plan for a recovery time after that. Don't schedule 2 concerts back to back like I did. Just plan for a recovery day the next day, maybe 2 or 3 days, however long it takes for you to recover. So yeah, that's what I have for anxiety. The biggest thing that I want you to remember is that every single person who is an INFJ has this kind of anxiety. You're not alone. It's totally normal. And for me, just that knowing that it's normal helps. And I hope that it helps you too. I would love to hear your stories if you want to share your story. You can go to my blog, which is infjwoman.com, and share your story in the comments of the post that says The Curse of Living with INFJ Anxiety. I'll put the link for that post in the show notes. You can also email me your stories if you want. My email is skuhn@infjwoman.com. So you can send them to me, and I would love to share them with other people. It's so nice to know that there are other people out there who feel the same way. It helps me a lot, and I hope that it helps you too. Before we go, I want to share with you something that I've been working on that I'm so excited about, and I hope that you'll be excited about it too. It is a premium newsletter that's made especially for INFJs. It's called INFJ Post. So let me give you a short tour of INFJ Post. This is the homepage where you'll see that there are different blog posts. There are a couple, one of them you can read right now, whether you have an account or not. But the majority of them that are posted on here will be locked. So this one, you can see down here that I'm logged in. So we can see everything that's going on here. This is a blog post that is only for subscribers. And like I said, the majority of them will be just for subscribers. There's a book review as well. I plan on doing a lot of different book reviews, but there will definitely be a new blog post every single week that is specifically for subscribers. Along with that, you'll also see other resources. So every book that I have ever written is available here for you to read. This one is especially important to me because it was the first book that I wrote. It's called the INFJ User Guide, and you can read the whole thing here. There are a lot of other books that I've written about being an INFJ, finding your purpose, how to form lasting habits, all kinds of things that are good and specific for INFJs. I've also written quite a few books on blogging. This one is called Blog School. So if writing a blog or even writing a book is something that you want to do, these books are perfect for that. And if you are trying to grow your following on social media, there's a book that I wrote about how to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram. I think my Instagram account now has over almost 60,000 followers. And then this one is also really good if you want to start your own business. There's a book called Be Your Own Boss. That is the resources tab. There's another tab that's incredibly important, which is called courses. So every digital course that I've ever done is on here. There's one that's called the Purpose and Action Accelerator that's all about how to find your life's purpose. There's one called the Self-Love Abundance Blueprint, which is all about how to find self-love. And then there's one called Blog School, which is everything that you need to know about starting your own blog. And coming up later this year, there will be a new course called the INFJ Writer, which is specifically for INFJs who want to start writing. Whether you want to write a blog or a book, or if you want to be some kind of journalist or something, it'll be a great course to help you get past writer's block. And to really get past that fear of not wanting to put yourself out there. There's one more tab that is incredibly important. This one is called Forum. So obviously this website is brand new, so there really isn't a whole lot here right now. That is why we need you. When you join, you can come on here and connect with all of the other INFJs who are joining, and you can talk about things that are specific to INFJs, things like anxiety and functions, and have all of your questions answered that only INFJs would understand. This will be an amazing place for you to make friends and to find people who really understand you. So that is the INFJ post. I really hope that you will give it a try. There's so much value here. It's well over $3,000 worth of value right now. I mean, I don't know how you could say no to that. If you sign up for a whole year, you actually get 2 months free as well. So you might consider signing up for a whole year. I plan on adding a new digital course every quarter. So that would be for a year. The one that we're starting with isn't really a digital course. It's more of a challenge that may become a course. It is called Tune Into Your Intuition Challenge, and it will be a 30-day challenge that is designed to help you really hone in on your intuition, to really dive deep into it and get some of the answers to some things that you have maybe been putting off in your life, or something that you want to do that you really have been kind of iffy about. This course will help you so much. It's going to be 30 days of really short lessons that have very simple but very powerful shifts that will really help you tune into your intuition. And it's only going to take you maybe 5 to 10 minutes a day in order to see amazing results. And like I said, this comes with your subscription, and it's only $10 a month. You can find all of the information about this challenge in this blog post that's titled How to Tap into Your INFJ Intuition. So make sure you go over and check it out. All right, that's all that we have for today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you tell all of your INFJ friends. And remember that you can watch the video episodes on youtube.com at youtube.com/thequietonespodcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you again next week.
So you just watched that video, and I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you want some more amazing information about INFJs, check out these videos right now. I'll see you there.